From the multiple stories that accuse them of acting like a full-fledged religious leader, to them constantly trying to mislead and potentially harm children, here's the utter and complete downfall of Ezra Miller. Starting off is probably one of the earlier incidents, and this was when they were blamed for starting a cult in Iceland. After Ezra Miller's actions made headlines in 2022, stories started to come out about their time in Reykjavik in 2020, when they rented an Airbnb and set up a makeshift commune. Insider also said that the actor got a reputation for walking around barefoot, rarely taking a bath, and holding group meditation sessions for their guests, who, by the way, were not allowed to disagree with Ezra's speeches about spiritual practices or use their phones. But I think the weirdest part about all of this was how people said it seemed like everyone was in a trance. Another woman said she had sex with Miller when she was 18 and living in Reykjavik, at the same time stressing over how much power the actor had over everyone else. Okay, I don't know about you, but that's some voodoo stuff right there. But then comes an incident where Miller started becoming aggressive, physically, like the time when he choked a fan on camera. On April 1st, 2020, the actor was in a bar in Reykjavik called Prekius Kafius, where they were filmed choking a female fan. In that video, Miller says, "Oh, you want to fight? So you want to do that." Then they grabbed her by the throat and beat her. A source at the bar told Variety that this wasn't a joke or a setup, even though some people thought it was an April Fool's joke at first. After what happened, Miller was actually kicked out of the bar for making too much noise. The actor's fans were confused by this video, which seemed to show that the actor had a violent side. As Vanity Fair reported, their rep later said that Miller went for her collarbone instead of her throat, all because a group of teens kept making fun of their mixed martial arts skills. Yeah, as if that makes the situation seem any better. If you think Miller seems like they have an ego problem of some sort after this incident, you'll definitely think they have a much bigger issue, especially after knowing that they gave the Ku Klux Klan a threat.
This is a message for the Beulahville chapter of the North Carolina Ku Klux Klan. Keep doing exactly what you're doing right now, and you know what I'm talking about.
In January 2022, Ezra Miller put up a mysterious video in which he talked to a supposed North Carolina Ku Klux Klan group and threatened to kill them with their own guns. I mean, disliking racists is one thing, but this was perhaps a bit too much.
If y'all want to die, I suggest just killing yourselves with your own guns.
Fans were confused by this vague accusation and the caption, in which the actor said that the video was not a joke, but a deadly serious threat. And then instead of taking the threat back, Miller asked their followers to trust them by writing, "Please share this video with everyone it might affect." According to Vanity Fair, the actor's family and friends were so worried about this public threat that they locked his guns up in a safe. At this point, they should have just locked him up, honestly, because at some point it went from threatening and beating people up to grooming. I mean, this should come as no surprise that the actor was accused of trying to get girls to like him. To be precise, in 2022, Ezra Miller was given a temporary protection order after they were accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a 12-year-old. Okay, that's a whole new low even for a person like them, to be honest. Miller reportedly told the child, who was 11 at the time, "I want to invest in your future." They asked for the child's social media information and suggested that they start a fashion line together. Even though the child later said they didn't like all the attention, Miller kept talking to them and insulting their mother in front of them. The actor insisted that they had found a mystical being whose mother didn't understand their potential and who would be lucky to have Ezra to guide and protect them. Wow, I can't even begin to imagine where that narrative even stems from, because it sounds that bizarre. A few months later, when the boy was 12, he saw Miller again and was invited to visit their farm. The boy said that everything sounded great, but he just didn't feel safe about it. When the actor came back and offered to buy the kids horses, their mother decided to get a protective order. Good call, Mom. At this point, if you think maybe somebody had knocked some sense into them already when it came to religious cult activities, well, you're wrong. Because at one point, Miller started acting like he was the Messiah. In an interview with GQ in 2020, The actor said that creative people are naturally practitioners of the various works of magic and medicine, storytelling, and ritual. In 2018, they also told the Evening Standard that they felt like they were represented by every religion in the world, but none of them at the same time. Miller also said that Jesus Christ was a revolutionary and told the story of the New Testament in their own way, saying that Jesus seemed like a queer, radical person of color. But their beliefs were questioned when they were accused in public of hurting the young people around them and using a messiah complex to explain why they did what they did. One source told Vanity Fair that Miller was using Native American spirituality to build this story and explain their relationship with Dakota Iron Eyes, even though they didn't have any indigenous background. I mean, what are a few culturally appropriated remarks in Miller's book when it comes to the countless problematic things they still keep doing? Am I right? Like when they started taking care of young children at their farm in Vermont, after meeting a woman and her 3 young children in Hawaii. Ezra Miller moved them all to a farm in Vermont that he and the woman had bought and filled with guns and marijuana. In June 2022, sources close to Miller told Rolling Stone that they were worried because a 1-year-old was said to have put a loose bullet in her mouth because ammunition was so easy to get. Rolling Stone also said that Miller and their friends had put marijuana smoke in the baby's face on purpose. But the mother insisted that the farm had been a healing haven for them. She said that Miller saved them from her violent and abusive ex in April, so that she could have a safe place for her 3 very young children. In August, Vermont State Police tried several times but failed to get an emergency care order to get the children back. Miller said that they didn't know where the family was, even though social media posts showed them at the farm. That sounds like an actual case of kidnapping if you ask me. In the end, there finally came a time when Ezra decided they had to start doing some reflecting. Or maybe that was just a face they were putting on. But the fact is, they said they would get mental health help. In August 2022, Ezra Miller said they were sorry for everything and said that their actions were caused by a mental health spiral. They apologized to anyone who had been hurt by their actions over the past year. The actors said they were committed to doing the work they needed to do to get their life back to a healthy, safe, and productive place, even though people thought Miller had hurt the DC Comics brand throughout the problematic incidents. It's kinda surprising the company stood by the actor and released the first official trailer for The Flash during the Super Bowl in 2023. In an interview with Deadline, Peter Safran and James Gunn defended Miller, saying that Ezra was fully committed to their recovery. And that's all for the utter and complete downfall of Ezra Miller. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.